Today, I'd like to go back over our building an investment strategy for the transition. It's pinned at the top, so you can go watch it on TikTok, or it's in my profile with uh, X and everything else. Okay. Um, so this I released it the last video like 2 days before Trump was inaugurated, and so it's been like a little bit over 2 weeks, and I would say that multiple things have happened and been said. And so what I'm going to try to do is try to put things into perspective and put them into categories. This is just my opinion. No one's told me anything. I have no idea. Okay. But this is how I view what's been done. Now, first, again, just a quick reminder. We believe that we as Americans have decided to break the global system that we set up. It's our system, we own it, and we can break it. And I would say, given the pronouncements from Trump over the last, 17 days or so, I think a lot of people are wondering, what's going on. And so I just want to step back, and I'm going to try to do them what I perceive is in the importance level. That's only my perception. I have no connections with everybody. So I think the number one important things, and I think it's inarguable, is Canada and Mexico. And of course, coming out and saying we're going to slap you with 25% tariffs across the board. Frankly, when you look at how Mexico and Canada are integrated into the American economy and we into their economies, if we did this and they retaliated, I believe that all three economies would basically just crash. That's just my opinion. It wouldn't be pretty. I don't know if crash is the right word, but times would not be good. So what's the story here? Well, when Trump came in 2020, they renegotiated NAFTA, and now we have the USCMA, okay, U.S., Canada, Mexico agreement. And in that agreement, the main thing was the cars being built in America had to go from 62.5% built in America to 75%. There was things on labor and environment and other things, but basically that was the core, okay? So what's going on? Well, the USMA is up for, it expires in 2036. And just a side point, no, I believe that the transition period is going to be like 15 years, and I'm just interesting that it's 15 years for the USMA, okay? But in 2027, July 2027, we all say that we're going to continue it. We can renegotiate some of the aspects in 2027. We can begin the negotiations 6 months before July 2027. Which, if you take it back, makes it after the midterm elections. So, I think Trump is pounding the table on the 25-25 because he wants to have early negotiations opened up before the midterm. So during the midterms, he can say, this is what I did, okay? Now, Canada and Mexico can say no, and they may well. I don't think they will, but again, no one's calling me on the phone. The thing is this, if they say no, then really comes the major question, okay? Because Trump could say, okay, and you saw some of the things he said when he first came in, well, maybe we'll do 3 or 5% a month, every single month increase it. And this may be, again, I have no idea, it's just my opinion, a ploy to get the early negotiations started, all right? And so if he then puts on a 25-25 before the negotiations, I think that one of the things that I'm observing, I don't know what anybody else is, I don't think people are going to lay down this time. Maybe I'm wrong, but if Canada does what they say, Mexico does what she says, it's not going to be pretty. And then, by the way, the midterm elections will be a disaster, okay? So that's that one. So then let's go over to Panama and Greenland, okay? Now, in my opinion, this is where I believe that the world is heading. We're leaving the old world, entering the transition period, and the new world. And anybody who follows this channel knows that I believe that the new world is going to be dominated by the word control. Control of our food supply, control of our energy supply, control of our technology, control of our demographics, control of the everything, right? Everything is about control. In the old world, everything about where can I buy it the cheapest globally, and we went there. That's over, okay? We want control. And if you watch the politicians around the world, everything, every one of their statements, every one of these new agreements, the word control, secure is in each agreement. This is a dominating factor that's going to go forth in the world, okay? So where it seems nuts to us and it doesn't seem to be, politically savvy to do it, I'm not judging one way or the other. I'm just saying this, to me, is a data point that we're right. The old world's ending, we're entering into transition, and the new world is going to be entirely different from the old world, okay? Then you look and let's say what's going on with Ukraine, and which is another major issue. The only reason that's a major issue is that Trump says that he's going to put tariffs on the Europeans and so forth. So one, neither Russia or Ukraine want what Trump is proposing. So my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to happen. Trump can say we're going to cut off the arms and we're going to put on more sanctions and so forth and so on. But if he cuts off the arms, I think the Eastern Europeans, Baltics, Finland, Sweden, Romania, Poland, maybe Moldavia, they're going to send troops and arms and they're going to fight. The difference is this: either they fight there or they fight on their border. So I don't think that's a starting point, okay? And for Putin, he can't take that deal. He doesn't want that deal. The Russians can't afford that deal. So I don't know how that one's going to work out. Then we had this Colombia situation. And I know everyone's, we're flying the flights and all this other stuff, but basically there've been a lot of flights, okay, commercial flights. And he said, you can't do military flight. But it was just a couple months ago, in October of 2024, that China is exploring a possibility of free trade agreement with Colombia. And then in January of 2024, China invited Colombia to join the Belt and Road Initiative with a draft proposal then. And China is already Colombia's second largest trading partner behind the United States. I think the United States is around 30 billion, they're 19 billion. And they also, in 2023, they signed a strategic partnership agreement, further solidifying their economic relationship. So it may seem that these flights were what people do, right? But I think it's just, again, a reminder to Colombia that we may not tolerate what they're doing. I don't know, again. So when you start looking at each and everything, is, a lot of it sounds nuts, there's no question. But I'd also say that I think everyone agrees that Trump is very transactional in his thinking and his actions. And, these may be ploys, they may not be, but this is how I read it. And we're going to see what happens. But it's going to be very interesting. So like and follow. Certainly tell me what you think in the comments. And thank you for following me.